Hello, my dear students. This is the second lecture on structure of atoms and nuclei. In previous lecture, we have studied about the basic concept of structure of atoms and nuclei. So, basically, atoms are the fundamental particles of matter, we can say. Further uh, dividing or further breaking is not possible in atoms. So, we can say that atoms are indestructible particle. That means the further division is not possible. Now, nucleus is the center of atom, and the 99.99% of mass of whole atom is concentrated in the nucleus. Now we can say that this nucleus contains proton and neutron, where proton is positively charged and neutrons are negatively charged. Whether the electrons revolve around the nucleus in their separate energy levels called as orbitals. Now these orbitals are at definite distance from the nucleus, so they don't uh, leave their spaces or leave their places, and they don't fall into the nucleus. So these are some uh, theories given by a number of scientists, and the number of scientists has their own vision to see the atom. Now here we will see some interesting part from the same chapter. Let's start. So the first concept is atomic spectra. Now we know that what is meant by spectrum. We have seen spectrum in terms of prism. When the white light gets diffracted or dispersed from the prism, we can see the spectra from the other side of the prism. Now to see that spectra, some instrument is needed over there. So this atomic spectra means what? Now the spectrum of electromagnetic radiation emitted or absorbed by the electron during transition between different energy levels within an atom. When an electron gets excited from one energy level to another, it either emits or absorbs the light of a specific wavelength. Now this spectra is nothing but, we can say, the band of different colors of the electromagnetic radiation which get which we get after the emission or absorption of the electron. Now see, in atom, the electron are placed in separate energy level. That energy level can be treated as shelf in a cupboard. Now suppose some of the electron is placed in one shelf, another will placed in another shelf. That means these energy levels are nothing but the different shell for the different electrons. Now when one electron get excited and it will shift its energy level. So for that purpose it will need some energy. When it will go above the energy level, so it should have absorbed the energy, then it can transfer from one shelf to another. Otherwise it will emit some energy to shift the energy level. So while doing this, the spectra gets emitted, and this spectra will have different colors of line depending on the different kinds of wavelength which gets emitted or absorbed. Now we can see this atomic spectra. In that particular atomic spectra, there will be some UV light, infrared radiation, X-ray, gamma ray, and this is the whole diagram for the electromagnetic radiation. Now in this we can see the frequency get increases on the either side, and on the opposite side wavelength get increases because they are reciprocal of each other. Means when the frequency gets increases, wavelength will decrease. When atoms are excited by photons, photon means nothing but the light, energy of light. They emit light of certain wavelength which correspond to different color. Now different color will have different wavelength, and just because of this different wavelength, the different light will have these different types of colors. The emitted light can be absorbed as a series of colored lines with dark spaces in between. This series of colored line is called a line or atomic spectra. So this is the more precise diagram and more precise definition for atomic spectra. Now what is the use of this atomic spectra? Why it is used to study this atomic spectra? As the atomic electron energy levels are unique to each element, the lines in a spectrum, that means emission or absorption, can be used to identify the elements present in the source. Now the source can be a star or any source of light, we can say, or a gas between the source and us. So for example, the interstellar medium. Now to study the energy of the particular source, we need to understand the nature of this atomic spectra, by which we can understand the emission and absorption to identify the elements present in the source of light. So this is the use of atomic spectra. Now what is the difference between emission spectra and absorption spectra? So firstly I would like to tell you that this spectra has three kinds of spectra, like continuous atomic spectrum, the emission spectra and the absorption spectra. Now in among them, emission spectra and absorption spectra has slight difference. The difference between absorption and emission spectra are that absorption lines are where light has been absorbed by the atom. Thus, you see a dip in the spectrum where emission spectra had spikes in the spectra due to atoms releasing the photons at those wavelengths. So, simply by their name, we can understand absorption means the light get absorbed and emission means the light get absorbed in terms of photons. So, the emission spectra will have spike in nature. So this is the emission spectra, when the emission spectra we will get, and the absorption spectra when the source of light and in between cold gas is there. So some of the electromagnetic radiation get absorbed there, and after that we are getting that absorption spectra. So some of the wavelength get absorbed over here. So what is emission spectrum? When energy is absorbed by electron of an atom, electrons move from lower energy to higher energy. Now just consider the energy level diagram. Okay, in that particular diagram, for suppose that energy, if the electron is now at the lower energy level. For moving it to higher energy level, that electron must have absorb some energy and then it can transmit to the higher level. So these excited electrons have to radiate energy to return the ground state. Means when this excited electron return back to the ground state, what will happen? It will emit some energy, and this is the emission spectrum, so which is unstable, and this emission spectrum is formed by the frequency of this emitted light. Means when the excited electron gets returned to the ground state, that an electron will radiate or it will emit some energy. So this emission spectrum is formed by the frequency of this emitted light. Now what is meant by absorption spectrum? So on the other hand, an absorption spectrum is constituted by the frequencies of light transmitted with dark band when the energy is absorbed by the electrons in the ground state to reach higher energy state. So this is just simple as that. Absorption means the energy get absorbed by the electron to jump into the higher energy level. So these are three types of spectra: continuous spectra, emission spectra, and absorption spectra. So this is not important, actually this is not, you should not go into deeper, just remember that there are three types of spectra: continuous, absorption, and emission. But among them, emission and absorption, you must know, see this is not into your syllabus, but instead of uh, looking into that, you will not understand the further things. So just for that I have explained you about the emission lines and absorption lines. So here this emission line and absorption line we will consider. Now see, this is the hydrogen spectra. Now why we have taken into consider hydrogen spectra? Firstly, the hydrogen, the universe is, we can say, it has a major role of hydrogen. The major content is hydrogen. And secondly, hydrogen atom is very easy to understand because it has only one, the atomic number is 1. So for that purpose, the atomic structure is very simple to understand. That's why we are considering the hydrogen spectra here. Now when we look into the hydrogen spectra, what we can see, there are different types of color we can see over here. Now these are the N1, N2, N3. These are the energy levels of electrons in hydrogen atom. Now see, this is the very hypothetical concept over here. This is not the materialistic, we can't see. This is just the imagination. So you need to imagine that these are the steps like structure. These are the energy levels for the hydrogen atom, for the electrons in hydrogen atom. Now let's see, N1 is the ground level, okay. After that, N is equals to 2, N is equals to 3, up to N is equals to 7. Now when we are considering the different series, now here are the series: Lyman series, Balmer series, Paschen series, and bracket series. Now for Lyman series, you need to understand that this NH2 Ni is equals to 1. So for that, Balmer series, NH2N1 is equals to 2, means the ground state for Balmer series will be 2, and the ground state for Paschen series will be 3, and the ground state for bracket series will be 4. Now we will see what are these kinds of series. So when an atom absorbs a quantum of energy, it is said to be in the excited state. When we can say the electron is get excited when it will absorb some energy and it will transmit from ground state to the higher energy level. That means the electrons get excited. So excited state related to its normal. Normal means ground state. Now for, we can say, ground state, n is equals to 1. Now when an excited atom returns to the ground state, now in this spectra you can see the electron which is at the position n is equals to 7. When it is returning to the ground state, that is n is equals to 1, it will emit some spectra because the energy level n1 at n1 is higher, and when it will lose some energy, then and then only it can come to the energy level 1. So this is nothing but the emission. For example, the familiar red light of neon sign is due to the neon atoms, now which have been excited by an electrical discharge. So this is simple example. Now when light from excited atom is waved through a spectroscope, images of the slit appear along the scale of the instrument as a series of colored lines. The various colors correspond to light of a definite wavelength, and series of lines is called as line spectrum. Now, this line spectrum of each element is so characteristic of the element, that is its spectrum may be used to identify it. The spectrum of hydrogen is particularly important in astronomy because most of the universe is made up of hydrogen. Emission or absorption process in hydrogen give rise to series. The number of series as we have seen earlier in that diagram. So which are the sequences of lines corresponding to the atomic transmission, each ending or beginning with the same atomic state in hydrogen. Thus, for example, the Balmer series involves transition starting from starting or ending. Starting means the absorption and ending means the emission. With the first excited state of hydrogen with the Lyman series involves transition that start or end with the ground state of hydrogen. An adjacent image illustrates the atomic transition that produces these two series in emission. The various series of lines are named according to the lowest energy level involved in the transition that give rise to the lines. Now you can see in this diagram also, so this is the actual diagram. We can say there are the energy levels as shown in the figure. Energy levels means the orbital. The Lyman series involve jump to or from the ground state n1 is equals to 1, and the Balmer series in which all the lines are in the visible region. Now you should understand what are the infrared region, visible light region. So you have to learn the spectra which I have shown you, the diagram of atomic spectra. The corresponds to n1 is equals to 2, the Paschen series n1 n is equals to 3, and the bracket series n is equals to 4. The same diagram with the another view I shown you, and this is the another view. In P fund series n is equals to 5. The Lyman series is in the ultraviolet, while the Balmer series is in the visible region, and the Pasteur, bracket and P fund and the Humphreys series are in the infrared region. In 1914, Niels Bohr proposed a theory of hydrogen atom which explained the origin of its spectrum and which also lead to the entirely new concept of atomic structure. According to this theory, the wavelengths of the hydrogen spectrum could be calculated by following formula known as Rayburg formula. So in this Rydberg formula, we can say that the reciprocal of wavelength is equals to the Rydberg constant in bracket 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. Now n1 is the energy level, we can say, and n2 is the another energy level. And these are the integers, means that the number of energy levels we can say. And for Rydberg constant for the hydrogen, it is given there. So by setting n1 is equals to 1 and letting n2 run from 2 to infinity, the spectral line known as Lyman series converging to 91 nanometer or obtained. In the same manner, the other series of spectral lines may be obtained using the values n1 and n2 in the following table. As you can see, this is the Bohr atomic model, and this is very important topic from the same chapter. Now you can see this positively charged nucleus, K shell, L shell, M shell and N shell. 1, 2, 3, 4 is the number of that particular shell, and K, L, M, N is the name of the shell. Now let's start studying the Bohr's atomic model. Niels Bohr modified Rutherford's model by applying ideas of quantum physics which were being developed at that time. So what Niels Bohr had done, he had modified the Rutherford's model. Now he realized that Rutherford's model is essentially correct, and all that it needs is stability of the orbits. Also, the electrons in these stable orbits should not emit electromagnetic waves as required the classical electromagnetic theory. He made three postulates which define his atomic model, and these are given below. So postulates of Bohr atomic model is the important topic and it can be asked for 3 marks. So there are the three postulates, we will see one by one. Now in this diagram, firstly you need to understand the nucleus is there and the different energy levels are given up to 3. When a photon is emitted with the energy level, the electron gets transmitted. E is equals to hf. E means the energy, h is the Planck's constant, f is the frequency. Now what are the postulates? So in an atom, electrons revolve around the positively charged nucleus in a definite circular path called as orbital or shell. Each orbit or shell has a fixed energy and these circular orbits are known as orbital shells. The energy level are represented by the integer n is equals to 1, 2, 3 up to so on, known as the quantum number. This range of quantum numbers start from the nucleus side with n is equals to 1 having the lowest energy level, and the orbitals n is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on are assigned as k, l, m and shells and so on. When an electron attains the lowest energy level, it is said to be in the ground state. The electrons in an atom move from the lower energy level to the higher energy level by gaining the required energy of an electron moves from a sorry so it will move from inner or the ground state to the higher state when it will gain the energy. Now what are the limitations of Bohr atomic model? So Bohr model of an atom failed to explain the Zeeman effect. Now this Zeeman effect we will discuss in the later in the next chapter, all the other chapter. Now for that instant you must know that Zeeman effect is the effect of magnetic field on the spectra of atoms. So Bohr atomic model is failed to explain the Zeeman effect. It is also fails to explain the Stark effect and this effect of the electric field on the spectra of atom. So this is the Stark effect. It could not explain the spectra obtained from larger atoms. So these are some limitations of Bohr atomic model. Now one explanation is there given by de Broglie, and this is de Broglie hypothesis. So we have seen in the chapter 14 that material particles have also dual like nature. So we have also studied the dual nature of the light, like so there is a wave nature and the particle nature. So de Broglie suggested that instead of considering the orbiting electrons inside the atom as particle, we should view them as a standing wave. So similar to the case in standing wave means these are the stationary waves. It looks like stationary, it look like standing on string or in the pipes are studied in the chapter 6. Also we have studied the integral multiple of the wavelength. Now thus the length of the first orbit will be equal to the 1 de Broglie wavelength, that is lambda 1 of the electron in the orbit. That on the second orbit will be twice the de Broglie wavelength of the electron in that orbit and so on. So this is shown for the fourth orbit. So in general we can write this 2 pi Rn is equals to n lambda n. Now this n can be the integer value and this lambda n can be written as 2 pi Rn upon n. The de Broglie wavelength is relative to the linear momentum of the particle. Now linear momentum can be written as, so this Pn lambda n, the wavelength can be rewrite in the form of linear momentum lambda n is equals to h by pn, while h upon mvn. So substituting this equation, we will get pn is equals to hn 2 pi by 2 pi rn. Now this angular momentum of the electron in the nth orbit ln can be written as this ln is equals to pn rn is equals to n into h by 2 pi, which is the second postulate of the Bohr atomic model. Therefore, considering electrons as wave gives some theoretical basis for the second postulate made by Bohr. So to explain the line spectra, Niels Bohr proposed that the angular momentum of the electron orbiting the atom is quantized, that is mvr is equals to nh by 2p. Now m is the mass of electron, r is the radius of the orbit, and v is the orbital speed of the electron. The electron is experience uniform circular motion. The only force on it is the attractive force between the negative electron and the positive nucleus. So if we rearrange Bohr's angular momentum equation to solve it for velocity, we will get v is equals to nh by 2 pmr. And then plug into the equation, we can say that mv square is equals to kze square by r. So mn square h square by 4p square m square r square is equals to kze square r. So solving this equation for the radius for the nth orbit gives by, now this rn is nothing but the radius, orbital radius we can say, and Bohr's assumption that the angular momentum is quantized produces the result that the radii of electrons allows orbits are also quantized. So this is for today's lecture. We'll meet in the next lecture for studying the atomic spectra and the structure of atom and nuclei in detail. So till then, goodbye and take care.